In our previous video of Sigma, we have learned its fundamentals, how vastly it is being used, and also we have learned its rule syntax, and it is human readable, and also how easily you can learn this Sigma rule, and it can be converted into various SIEM formats. We have learned about that. And also when you are coming across a specific event or a specific log of an activity, how to gather sensitive information out of that logs and use those informations in the Sigma rule that you are building. So we have learned about all these stuffs, and today we are going to do some practical thing, and we are going to write couple of Sigma rules for a real-time scenario, and through that rule writing we'll be learning the Sigma rule more. So without further ado, let's begin. Practical scenario. So in this part we're going to do some practical assessment. I mean, we got couple of scenarios and we are going to write the Sigma rule to find that real-time events, right? So it will be fascinating. Let's get in. It's time to test knowledge gained about Sigma and its use. In this task, you are expected to write rules based on provided scenarios, convert them to the appropriate SIEM used in the deployed machine, and identify any useful information using the queries to help you answer the questions. Well, they are asking us to write the Sigma rule and convert it to the appropriate SIEM that's being used. And we knew this is Elasticsearch, and we have a way to convert the Sigma rules into Elastic query, and we are going to use uncoded.io for that. Now let's read through the scenario. Your organization, Aurora, has recently been experiencing unusual activities on some of the machines on the network. Amongst these activities, the IT manager noted that an unknown entity created some scheduled tasks on one of the machines, and that a ransomware activity was also recorded. Well, the SOC manager has approached you to find ways of identifying these activities from the logs collected on the environment. It would be best if you used Sigma rules to set your detection parameters and perform search queries through the Kibana dashboard. Well, just now we were reading the scenario, and there was some suspicious activity, and the manager observed the scheduled task has been created, and also he has noted some ransomware activity. Now let's read further. To complete the task, you will require two Sigma rules processed into Elasticsearch to query for the scheduled task and the ransomware events. Below are the tips to construct a good rule for the task. Well, we are going to write the Sigma rules for the scheduled task finding and also spotting the ransomware events. All right, now let's through these steps carefully. For the scheduled task, understand the process creation event. Well, before getting into this step-by-step guide, the important note, you have to understand the basic functionalities and the location of some important files like command prompt, PowerShell, like that. So you should be having some idea about the Windows operating system in order to create Sigma rules to detect something in the Windows. Well, let's read the second one. For the rules, detection variables should contain image and command line arguments. So they are mentioning the search identifier here. So the search identifier is nothing but the field name, the specific field present in the log file, and it should be same in the Sigma rule as well. So that is very important. And the third point, you may choose to exclude system accounts from the query. Well, we don't need to include the system accounts in that query. So that is another point they have given. Well, moving to the next one. For the ransomware activity, you will look for a created file ending with .txt, and they are asking us to check for the newly created text file, because typically the ransomwares do create the ransom notes, which is typically a text file. So that's why we are going to create a Sigma rule to spot the newly created text files. The file creation process would be run via the cmd.exe. So adversaries often use the command line utilities to create such text files. So that's what they are saying. And change the default time window on Kibana from default last 30 days to last 1 year. So we need to modify this to last 1 year. Well, that is what we got. And now I think we do have some idea, some insight about the Sigma rule creation. Now let's start doing it. I do have the skeleton, the template for the Sigma rule. So I am going to use this same template to create these two new rules. First of all, let me start creating the rule of scheduled task detection. Scheduled task detection. All right. Now the title is, it would be the same, like scheduled task detection. And identifier. So we have to keep one universal identifier in your role. So that's your wish. It's an optional field, but it is good to have this UUID because it will be helpful to differentiate the rule that is written by you from the other rules. So that's the simple thing. So I'm generating one unique identifier and I'm putting it here. And moving to the next one, the status. So, well, the status would be the experimental. It can be test or it can be, there is another status, right? We have seen Sigma rule writing, I guess. So here we've seen that there are multiple statuses: stable, test, experimental, deprecated, and unsupported. Well, we are still in the experimental phase, so I'm just mentioning it, experimental. All right. Now the description, so it is up to you. So it can be anything that you wish. Like I'm going to mention like this rule is to spot the scheduled tasks on Windows systems. All right. And author, it would be my name, and the date, what is today's date? February 10th. So let me add that. And the date modified, the same date. And here this part is very important. It's a mandatory field. So we do have the log source category and log source product. The product would be Windows. So we are dealing with the Windows systems, and the category would be process creation. So you should be keeping this first point in your mind. So let's see the first point, what we are given for the scheduled task. Understand that it's a process creation event. So it would be like process creation. So if you have doubt in this specific field, what to put here, then I think there is a guide in the Sigma directory, GitHub directory itself. Now let's see this one. I think here is the hint, Sigma taxonomy. So that is what you need to search. So when you search Sigma taxonomy, there is a GitHub link at the top. So I'm opening it. So if you read through this specific page, you'll be having an idea about the category, the log source category to use. So let me scroll down further. I think here it is. Taxonomy specification. So there is an MD file. I'm scrolling down and look at this one. So here it has the product name and its category. So if it is Python, then the category would be application. If it is Django, it is application. Like that, you will be seeing the log source category and product details for multiple devices, multiple products. So look at this, a Cisco product, the service AAA, Cisco, the service LDP. Like this, the category and the product details will vary. Look at this, here is the Windows stuff, and the category would be file delete, file change, file access. For example, we are going to write another rule for the ransomware activity, where we are going to spot the text file that is newly being created, right? So for that kind of stuff, we can mention the category as file event. So this would be more appropriate for that rather than the process creation. So that's what. So here I am mentioning process creation because the scheduled task is going to create a process. So it is going to run as a process. So that's why I'm creating here. That's why I'm mentioning here. Well, the next part, it's an essential one. So this is like the heart of this rule. So we need to mention the proper search identifier in order to get the efficient effective detection. Well, let's get into this. The first point we do have is we need to ensure it has both image and command line arguments. So that is the first thing. So I'm going to mention the image. So let me mention the image first. Image contains, so that would be the first search identifier of mine. Like Python, indentation is very important in Sigma. So I'm giving the indentation properly, and here is what I'm going to define the image. And the image is nothing but the location of the scheduled task binary. So if a scheduled task has to be done, the task to be scheduled, then it should call the scheduled task binary, right? So let's get the location of that scheduled task binary. So if you don't have any idea where it located, then you can seek the help from the Google. Location of scheduled task binary in Windows, and it will be giving you the details about the scheduled task binary. Well, I think I need to search like this: sch tasks.exe. I think it is present in the system32 directory itself, because we can call the scheduled task binary from any path. So I think it must be there. So let me give that as a path: Windows system32 schtasks.exe. So that is what the scheduled task binary. So let me search this binary simply. All right, so this is the binary to create the scheduled task. To create, delete, query, change, run, or end the scheduled tasks on local or remote computer. So this is the binary we need. So we got this. So the image contains the binary and with its path. So this is the parameter that we are going to find in the log field. And the next one is the parent image. So I'm including this field contains. I'm including this field because the scheduled task binary spawned from the command prompt binary through the command prompt, right? So obviously the command prompt would be the parent process. So I am simply mentioning this command prompt path here, cmd.exe. So that is the path for command prompt. Well, the field 2. So as they clearly gave here, image and command line arguments should be used. So the next search identifier would be the command line. So command line is nothing but the commands that we are using in the command prompt. So we are going to mention the part of that command. So let me mention this contains all. So I'm mentioning all here. I'll explain what will happen here in a moment. So here I gave the indentation. The first thing is the scheduled task. So this binary would be called, right? So I'm mentioning that schtasks.exe. So this binary is called in the beginning, and you need to mention the word create to create the scheduled task. So here you may see in the help menu, you can see the word create. So the create word is used to create the task, right? So that is a mandatory word. So I am mentioning this create word here. Well, I think I need to mention another parameter here. So let me mention this one, the task name, because the task name is given, so it's a mandatory field, so I'm mentioning the task name here. So I'm not adding the slash here, I'm simply mentioning slash, simply mentioning tn to avoid the unnecessary confusions. And the start time, and this is another field that is present on the command, the schedule task command. When you are scheduling, you'd be using that parameter as well. Well, I think that's it. We do have all the command line fields. Since we have called all here, it becomes an and statement. If I didn't mention this all, then it would be like an or statement. Any one of these field matches, then it will be triggering. But since I mentioned all here, it has to contain all 4 strings in that command, then only it will get triggered. And all 3 stuffs, like image, it has to be this one, and the parent image, the parent process, it has to be the command prompt, and the command line should contain all 4 things, then this rule will get triggered. All right, the condition, I simply mention selection here, and that would be fine. Well, and I'm simply removing this field stuff, and the false positive, I'm going to mention like the legit tasks scheduled by system admin. That's a false positive, so I'm mentioning it. And the level, I'm keeping medium, and I think high would be fine, because scheduled tasks are often one of the tactics used by the threat actors, so I'm mentioning that. And the next one is the tags, where we can mention the MITRE TTPs if it is a threat scenario. If it is a vulnerability, if it is to find the vulnerability, then you can mention the CVE ID here. Well, I'm actually trying to find the MITRE TTP for scheduled tasks, scheduled task creation, and here is the TTP. I got this T1053. That's what I'm mentioning here, T1053. It's a MITRE technique, and the task, the tactic would be the scheduled task. So let me mention here, scheduled task. And I think we are good to use the conversion now against this rule. So let's try to convert this rule. I think it looks fine. So I'm going to uncoder.io, uncoder.io. And here I'm pasting this rule, and it should be elastic query because we are having the ELK instance. I am clicking translate, and here we go. We got the search query for ELK. Now let me paste it here. As I mentioned in the previous task, you should decide, you should tweak this outcome, because it is not perfect. Obviously, you need to modify certain stuffs for this query to work. So I'm mentioning the asterisk here. I'm not removing any additional backward slashes because it was used to escape this colon and this backward slash, and so that I am not removing that one. And I'm removing the unwanted asterisk symbols, and here I don't need the asterisk, so I'm removing it. It should contain create, should contain tn task name, and it should also contain the st word. And it looks good now. So let me copy this query and paste it in the Elasticsearch. I'm pasting it and entering. I'm not getting any error. That denotes the query is correct, but still we are not getting the result because I need to tweak the days, the number of days. So here I need to mention a year ago. So that was the reason. And now I should be getting some logs, I hopefully. No, I'm not getting any logs now. I think I need to tweak it a little bit. So let me remove this exe. I'm only keeping scheduled tasks because when we use this name alone without the extension, it should work. So what if they have used that one? Yeah, now look at this. We got certain events. and here I removed the .exe at the end after scheduled tasks, because when we are using this scheduled task command, we won't be mentioning .exe in the command, right? So that's why. So simply we are looking for the command line text. For that, scheduled task, the SEH tasks would be sufficient. And we got two events. Now we have wrote the rule and we have did some modifications here, and also we have removed the .exe from this, and eventually we got it right. We got the query right and we got certain outcomes. So these logs matched this query and it gave this outcome. Now all we need to do is to expand this one and copy it to the clipboard. And I am creating a new file. So here I pasted all the results we got, and we got certain questions to answer now. Let's do that. To detect the creation of scheduled tasks, what detection value would be appropriate for sigma rule? Well, it is obvious that to detect the scheduled task, you must mention this sh tasks.exe binary, and that's what they are asking here. And the next one, what was the name of scheduled task created? And the name of the scheduled task created, and they're asking the name of the task. Well, I'm going to this outcome, the log that we have fetched, and here I'm trying to find the name of the scheduled task. So let me get the command here. So here is the command. So from the command prompt, they are executing the scheduled task, and they are mentioning it to run only once, and the scheduled task name, the TN denotes the task name, and it is nothing but spawn, and that would be the answer for it. And yes, and what time this task mean to run? Well, that is also present in the same line. So here you can see the ST parameter. It is nothing but the scheduled time. So here is the time. It is 8:10 p.m. So that's what mentioned, and that would be the right answer. Well, moving to the next one. Well, now we have created one sigma rule, and we have also converted it to the Elastic query, and we have added it in the Elasticsearch instance, and we have got the logs, the pertaining logs, and we answered these questions. Now moving to the next one, we need to write the second rule for the ransomware activity, to detect the ransomware activity. And here we need to tweak this. I simply copied the same rule that we have created for scheduled task. I am modifying this values, ransomware detection rule, and the unique ID would be something different, right? So let me create another unique ID here, and it is changed, and this would be the unique ID now. All right, and the status is experimental. Description, this rule is to spot the ransomware events, on Windows systems, and rest of the things are same, and the category would be the file event. I have already explained, I have already shown the sigma taxonomy, and here for the file operation it is good to use the category file event. So that would be the appropriate one, and the product would be the Windows. Next one, and the detection. So this one is a crucial one. We knew the ransomware is going to use the command prompt to create the file, the text file, right? So let me mention that here. So I am putting the image as the cmd.exe. So it contains this cmd.exe, and I'm removing this parent image. It is not required. And the next one is the file stuff, I guess. When you are using this field, like either command prompt, command line, image, or parent image that we were using in the previous rule, you need to be very careful, because this field should be matching with the field present in the log file. So here I'm going to show a cheating, I'm going to cheat a bit here. So let's see what I'm going to do. I know we do have all the logs here in this ELK instance. All we need to do is to bring that appropriate log out of this log list, right? So by using the query. So for that, I am simply going to mention like a certain file. I think I'm going to I need to fetch that specific log that is related to that text file creation. So let me search like this asterisk.txt. I'm not sure whether it will work or not, but let's see. So we got only 105 hits here. So all these 105 hits containing some sort of text documents here. Now look at this. It contains the field file.name, file.path. So I'm going to use this file.path and file.name in the rule that I'm writing. So apart from the image, I'm going to use file.name. So let me replace this. So I'm mentioning file.name now, and it contains the file name should contain .txt because it is creating the text file. I'm not sure its file name, but I know its extension, so I'm mentioning it here. And the next one, I'm mentioning the same stuff once again. Let me add another field, and here I'm mentioning ends with. Instead of contains, I'm mentioning ends with. And let me mention that value, the value ends with txt. So I mentioned that. And the next one would be the file path. And usually in ransomwares, it creates the text file on the desktop. So when the victim opens the system and on the desktop, they'll be able to read the ransom note. So the path might contain desktop. So I'm mentioning desktop here because the file is created on the desktop folder. All right, I think I do have this now. I got the image, file name, it contains .txt and it ends with .txt. I think both are same. I mentioned it though. The file path would be it contains desktop. So when the desktop word is spotted on any path that has the text file, then it would be triggering it. Well, I think we do have the detection logic ready. Now let me mention this false positive. Legit files created by user, and the severity level is high. And let me get the tag, the Mitre TTP for this. Mitre TTP to find the ransom note creation. Data encrypted for impact. So I'm not sure. I don't have any specific TTP for the file creation. So it is not a malicious activity. It is just a file creation. So that I'm using the specific T1486 as an ID. 1486. So data encrypted for impact. So the it denotes the ransomware activity. So let me mention this data, or I'm mentioning like this, ransomware activity. All right, now I have the rule ready. Let me do the conversion for this rule. Going to uncoder.io, translating, and I got the query. Let me modify this ELK query. I need to remove this asterisk, and I'm leaving this backward slash as it is, as I said before. And here the file name, actually the file name should contain this .txt. I'm mentioning this one, and the file name, it ends with txt. So I'm not removing this asterisk here because the file name ends with txt. Before this txt, there must be something. So I'm keeping this asterisk here. And the file path, it contains desktop. Well, I think it is okay now. I am pasting this search query here, and the period is 1 year. We've already chose that. All right, we are not getting anything. File contains .txt. So what about txt? Txt alone. If we keep txt here, then we won't be having this one. So let me use this and update. Still we don't get anything. It looks fine, but still we are not getting it. So let me remove this one. And update. Still I'm not getting. Looks like I'm not having the proper logic. I did make some mistake here. So let me fetch this log completely. So I'm cheating here, but what you typically need to do here before creating the Sigma rule, you have to create that activity on the Windows system, and you need to get the logs, and you need to review every log field, and you need to use those log fields in the Sigma rule to avoid this kind of confusions. All right, now I got one of the logs here, so I'm opening this, I'm copying it in the clipboard. So let me put it here, and here I'm going to review that and get the file related stuff. So look at this one. There is a field called file extension, and it contains txt. So if it's a text file creation, then it must be containing this field, right? So I'm using this field in my rule, and let me write this file extension that contains txt. All right, now the next one, file extension is mentioned, and the next one, what about the next thing? File path. So the file path is lengthy. I already have the file path field, event creation, file extension. Do I have any other field related to the file? And here is another field called file directory. It is also containing the path. So I'm using this file directory. I'm replacing it actually with this file path. So let me mention file directory here, file directory that contains desktop and the file extension, and what else? Do I have anything? File.name that ends with .txt. So let me mention like this, file name that ends with .txt. All right, now I'm going here that ends with .txt. Okay, now it looks okay. Now let me do the conversion. I'm going to uncoder.io, replacing it, translating it again, and I got the query. Now let me do the modification. I'm removing this asterisk. File extension, it contains txt, and file name, it ends with star.asterisk.txt. So I'm keeping as it is, and the file directory, it contains the word desktop. So that's why I'm keeping it. Well, I do have the query now. Let me put it in the Elastic instance and enter. Still it is not giving the result that I need. Well, what mistake I made? What if I remove the asterisk.txt? Still I'm not getting anything. All right, I think I need to tweak this a bit. I'm scrolling down. Here I can see the field called target file name. So why don't we use this one as the search identifier instead of the file name? So I'm mentioning this target file name ends with .txt. Well, okay, now it looks fine. Let me convert this again. So whenever you are creating the rules, the Sigma rule like this, you might be getting this, you might be getting the logs unmatched. It might not be matching the rule that you want to match, but in that case you need to tweak that logic like this, and you need to find that exact query to find that log. So that is very important, and when you are practicing this Sigma rule, then you'll be getting some idea, but you need to keep practicing it. This thing is okay. All right, I'm now using this query to find the log. Still, I'm not getting anything. I think I made some mistake. I made a blender mistake here. Actually, I'll explain what mistake I made. And here I'm looking for the specific cmd.exe path. That one is fine. I'm removing the asterisk and it looks fine because it is the exact path. But here when I go to the file extension, we are looking for txt file extension, because when I see the log file here, the file extension was containing the txt alone. Look at this one, it contains only txt, so I need not to mention any asterisk here. This one is also fine, but the issue was with this one file directory. Here I removed both the asterisk before the desktop and after the desktop, but actually you need to keep both this asterisk before, because we are referring the file directory, right? The file directory contains the desktop. It's a path, it's an entire path. In this path, the desktop is enclosed by the C directory, and here after the desktop it has to contain the file name. So you need to keep the both asterisk, and you need to keep the desktop in the middle. So that is the mistake I made. And the file path.txt that ends with asterisk.txt, because before .txt there is something, so that's why I kept this asterisk here. So here's the query. I think hopefully it should work now. So let me put it here and update. It would be giving the event that is related to this file creation. Well, we got the specific event. Actually, this ELK instance was containing thousands of logs. Out of the thousands of logs, by using this query, we have fetched one specific log. The event, the log, the log for the specific event. We wrote the sigma rule. We can distribute the sigma rule with others, so they can use this uncoder.io and convert it to the respective SIEM format, and they can put the query like this in their SIEM and they can get the appropriate event. So this is how the detection process works. And now we got the log here, and let me copy it to the clipboard, and I am putting it in a separate sheet, because by using this log details we are going to answer certain questions. Now let's get into the question part. To detect ransomware activity, what log source category would be appropriate for sigma rule? And this is where we have seen that sigma taxonomy reference, and we have seen that sigma taxonomy, and we found it is something related to the file activity. So file event would be the appropriate log source. Well, moving to the next one. What is the name of the created file? Well, this is where we are going to see the log detail. From the log detail, we are going to get the file name that is created. And look at this one. Here is the file path. It contains the file name also. Your files.txt. Well, that should be the answer here. And the next one. What was the event code associated with the activity? Well, to get the event code, I am simply trying to scroll down. I think I should be getting the event ID here. Look at this one. Here is the event code. The event code is 11. So 11 is the event code for the file activity. So that's the right answer. And what were the contents of the created ransomware file? Well, this one, I think I don't get the content of the ransomware file here in this log. I need to query more logs in order to get the content, because I don't see any file content here. If you clearly see, it only contains the log about the file creation, your files.txt. Now we need not to worry, we got the file name. Now I am removing this query and simply searching for this file. So wherever this file name is mentioned, it will be thrown here. You can see there are 4 logs that contains this file name. Well, let's expand the logs one by one. I'm copying it to the clipboard, and here I pasted, and let's try to find the content of the file. And here I'm simply having the file hash, and look at this one, notepad.exe. So it looks like the file has been created with the notepad application, and that's what we presume. And here I'm not getting the file content yet. I'm keep cruising through this log. I'm still looking for the file content. I'm not getting anything for now. Related hash, working directory, again the file path. I'm not getting the file content here. So this log is not useful. I'm not getting anything here. And moving to the next one, in the second log, let me search for something. And here, do I have the file content? No, I don't have. I'm scrolling up. Still, I don't get any file content. No, I don't have the file content here, even in this log. All right. Now looking for the third one. And here, no, I'm not having the file content. So I'm scrolling up. I'm still not getting the file content. All right. Now looking for the fourth one. And here I think I should be getting that. Now look at this one, this specific line. Here in the command line, cmd.exe is called and it is executing the command, this one. It is echoing this specific string into this file, yours file.txt. So this should be the answer. So I'm just scrolling up. So here you can see the detailed command. So it is echoing this specific content into the yours files.txt. Well, that should be the answer for the question. And yeah, that's the right answer. So with this, we have done creating the Sigma rules for two scenarios. One is for the scheduled task detection and another one is for the ransomware detection. And we made some mistakes in this detection logic, and we have while we were editing this query that resulted by the uncoder.io, we were making some mistake, but eventually we have corrected all the mistakes and we have obtained the respective logs from the CLK instance, and we have found it is something related to some ransomware activity. And also we have learned some interesting rule creation stuff. Well, yeah, with this we have done the practical scenario. The last part is containing an interesting cheat sheet. So here you can see the Sigma cheat sheet. So it's a PDF. It contains only 2 pages, but in the 2 pages you will be getting a lot of details. And look at this one, it contains all the fields applicable, all the fields associated with this Sigma, and also you can it actually gives the general detection expression principles. Look at this, what sort of special characters you need to use, what sort of expressions you need to use, the conditional expression, search identifier, and it gives everything. And it also gives the types of search identifiers, list and maps. So here is the format of map and here is the format of list. So the operator is OR and operator is AND. So it gives all the details clearly. And I'm scrolling down further. You can see the contains, all, starts with, ends with, regular expression, and it gives the respective meaning for that. So this is what this Sigma room is all about. So by completing this, you can download this file. First of all, you can download this cheat sheet and you can use it personally. So that is an excellent stuff. So with this we have done doing this Sigma fundamentals, and we have also wrote couple of Sigma rules. Well, yes, this is what I exactly wanted to showcase. Fortunately, through this Try Hack Me room, we were able to learn the fundamentals of Sigma. Even if you had no idea about Sigma before, then after the end of these 2 videos, I hope you'll be getting some, you got some idea about Sigma, and hopefully you can write some fundamental Sigma rules with help of these videos. If it really does help you, then feel free to hit the like button and consider subscribing my channel. If you have any other opinion, drop it in the comment section. I'm ready to take up your feedbacks and also your valuable comments. You can also share this video among your friends. I'll catch you next time with another exciting concept. Until then, I'm signing off. Cheers, and I love you all. Thank you so much.